close the door. You ain't no better than politicians, you hypocrites. Use your power to make a change and make a difference.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
And ain't saying much. They say they care, but do they really though? It's beyond their ability. Is it really though? They say they care, we know they really don't. It's all a front for show. They do it all for show. They set the world on fire, they let it burn slow. They set the world on fire, they let it burn slow. Yeah, they let it burn slow. Yeah, they set the world on fire.
Good morning.
You left arm in, you take your left arm out. You put your right hand.
And horses and all the king's men. Good morning, Valerie.
Together again.
Don't be so basic and practice on your greatness. Life don't work like that, gotta be amazing. I've been down and out, I know what it takes to be on top right now. I know I'm your favorite.
This is hip hop and politics and relevance. This ain't J6, but
It's an insurrection.
I don't get slip and body witness prosecutions to the next level.
I got MAGA triggered in a state of shock,
Cause the time has come. The Proud Boys got 22 for seditious conspiracy.
what happened to Back to Blue?
He told you to march through the Capitol and he would be there too. Officers died and they wanted to hang kids too. You said Biden would lose, he beat Trump too. You said you wanted the truth and now you got Zeus. So who's the monsters in communism and fascists? Let's see it.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans representing extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
That's
They
right.
see their MAGA failure to stop a peaceful transfer of power after the 2020 election
Good morning.
as preparation for the 2022 and 2024 election.
He said it.
MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. They refuse to accept the results of a free election.
Facts. All right, let's get the show started, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Ginger. Nice profile picture. I see you out there. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You know exactly why we are here. Sexy. Good morning.
It's like a curse.
Let's go.
Deja vu.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. You know exactly what it is.
It's deja vu when I'm running up these rats.
I'm like the Terminator screaming, I'll be back.
It's deja vu when
Good
I'm
morning,
out in
Terry.
first class. It's like every week I gotta take out the trash. I'm on top of my game, ahead of the class. You can tell that I made it. Look at my grass. Cars in the garage, tanks full of gas. I play the game so raw, I won't finish last. See it now, I'm even moving. This is how it's supposed to happen when you're rich and famous. The algorithm turned to a maniac. I guess we going viral cause my Zodiac. I got all these nipples on my spreadsheet. Benjamin Franklin is my plastic. And if they is my ex, that mean they left me. They don't get me by.
Hey, Valerie.
With my chest cause I'm in it. Got a lot of confidence.
Thank you, Valerie. You know what to do. All right.
With a new whip. I'ma take off in a spaceship.
I'll tell you what, I haven't gone into Zeus's live
You
in a
haven't?
couple of days. That shit was radical.
It was?
It was horrible. I'm like, Zeus has gone way off the rails.
It's like deja vu. It's like deja vu.
Cut it out. Cut it out. All right, DJ, go ahead and kill the music. Yeah. Shame. Boo. Silence. All right. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Once again, we are back in the Thunderdome. Why we are here. All right, but before we get started, let's take care of some housekeeping items. For those of you who do not know who I am, I go by the name Zeus, or as some like to say, Triple H, right? And why do they call me Triple H, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple. The first H stands for honest. I am the most honest person on social media. The second H, ladies and gentlemen, is because I'm humble. There's nobody more humble than me. If I get it wrong, I will be the first to apologize. And then the last and final H, ladies and gentlemen, is because I am, you guessed it, and I will always be the most handsome. All right. Now, many of you are familiar with what we do over here on this side of TikTok. What we do is very, very special. We hold our friends on the right, especially their cult leader, Donald J. Trump, accountable for their dirty, disgusting, filthy deeds as well as their crimes. And believe you me, when it comes to dirty, disgusting, filthy deeds and crimes, isn't it safe to say that our friends on the right, you know, the Republican Party, the MAGA Republicans, they seem to have hit the jackpot, right? Every time you turn on the news, you see this country is going down in degradation, and you know who's behind it? It's the MAGA Republicans, right? And so what we do is we make sure we hold them accountable. We do it by giving them boos and shames, all right? And then the hope is that there's that one MAGA possessed individual that gets saved today. Yeah, we're saving souls out here on TikTok, ladies and gentlemen. So listen up. If you're a Trump supporter, someone that's in the middle, you're on shaky ground, you don't know who to vote for, you really only got two choices. Joe Biden, all right, as is. You know how you go buy a car and it's a used car and they say as is. Joe Biden as is, or Donald Trump and all his baggage in terms of criminality and corruption and crime and fascism. There's really only two choices, right? So if you're confused, you might as well just kind of scoot on out of the way. But if you are a person that's possessed with the MAGA demon, like I say every show, you might want to leave this live and go hang out with these fake TikTok hosts. You know exactly who they are. You go look at their profiles, right? These people brand themselves as ultra MAGA. They wear these red hats and they host these lives on TikTok, lives of lies, right? And what they'll do is they'll lie to you and make you think everything's going to be okay as long as Donald Trump gets in office, because that's the messaging Donald Trump has put out there. But what I want you to know is they're lying to you, all right? It's not going to be okay if Donald Trump gets in office. It's going to be a lot worse, all right? All right, so you've gotten your warning, all right? But if you choose to stay here despite the warning, that's completely on you. So last chance, MAGA. You might want to leave this live because it's going to get dangerous, all right? How about this? You don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
All right, all right. Nothing grinds my gears more than MAGA. There's this one thing that really grinds Zeus's gears right now, all right? And it's because they continue to complain about how terrible this country is, as if they somehow live in a place that none of us have ever been to, where there's fairy godmothers flying around and, everyone's getting along peacefully. Their bank accounts are filled to the brim with money. The gas prices were, magically low. These folks live in La La Land. All right, ladies and gentlemen, MAGAville, so to speak. And so if you listen to the difference between how President Biden talks and you listen to how Donald Trump talks, again, I think the answer is crystal clear which candidate you should go and support, all right, when you go and cast your vote. We're not asking you to get out here and put boots on the ground and go fight a war, ladies and gentlemen. We're simply asking you to use your God-given sense, all right, to make the right decision when you go and vote. That's the easiest thing you can do, all right? Think about all the battles this country has been through in order for us to be at this space where all we got to go do is vote, and vote the right way, all right? And not like that. So what I want to do is kind of explain how President Biden can beat Donald Trump, but he can't do it without the good people like yourselves, all right? And this is for all Americans, all right? I'm not talking about the so-called patriots, all right? The so-called patriots that support Donald Trump. This message goes right over your head. This isn't for you. As far as I'm concerned, you should sit out. I was talking to a MAGA demon yesterday, and they said they don't trust the government. These Trump supporters, I don't trust the government. Well, if you don't trust the government, why are you voting? All right? Mr. Clickbait, if you don't trust the government, why are you voting? Your vote won't count, so just sit on out, all right? And like your cult leader said, he doesn't need your vote. You got enough votes already. Just sit out, MAGA. By the way, I am using a teleprompter, all right? And get this, I'm not as old as President Biden, but I got a teleprompter here. There's nothing wrong with using a teleprompter, ladies and gentlemen, all right? Compare and contrast. That's what a political campaign is for. Candidates present their vision of where they will take the country and why you should elect them to do it versus what the other candidate wants to do. So far, President Joe Biden has been running as the candidate who doesn't tell lies and tells the truth and will protect our democracy and do the things that good Democrats always say that they will do. Provide health care, right? Provide health care. Protect Social Security and Medicare. Support the troops. And take care of the vets and work on the economy so there is equal opportunity for all. Let's give Joe Biden a round of applause. But he's running against Donald Trump of 2024, not the Donald Trump of 2020, or even the soft-focused fascist of 2016. Accusing Trump of lying every time he opens his mouth is stating the obvious, as is accusing him of his extremism and racism and all of the terrible isms, including the modern day fascism of the MAGA Republicans, right? Let's give the MAGA Republicans and Donald Trump a round of boos and shame. This is who you're going to vote for? I get it. Listen to what Donald Trump told the 51 million people who listened or watched the debate last Thursday. This is what Donald Trump said about the United States of America. This is what he says. We're a failing nation right now. We're a seriously failing nation. What's taking place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. This is how Donald Trump thinks of the United States of America. Compare that to what Joe Biden told his fellow citizens. He did so in a halting, hoarse voice, but his words ring out in a patriotic call to arms and love for the country. Quote, this is what President Biden said. We are the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity. We have the finest military in the history of the world, the finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one wants to screw around with any of us. Nobody. The idea that somehow we are this failing country. I've never heard a president talk like this before. We are the envy of the world. Name me a single major country's president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America. For our problems and all of our opportunities, we're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world. We're a country in the world who keeps our word, and everybody trusts us, including all of our allies, right? So you can see the difference between how Donald Trump talks about the United States compared to how President Joe Biden does. And it's clear Joe Biden really does love this country. Joe Biden should start making ads quoting Donald Trump's utterly unhinged remarks at his rally in Waco, Texas last year on the anniversary of the FBI's seize of the Branch Davidian compound. Donald Trump had just begun his second run for the presidency, and he wanted Americans to know where he stands. Joe Biden should make the point that Donald Trump chose that place and that time to tell us how much he hates the United States. Quote, this is what he says. We're a failing nation. We are a nation with the highest inflation rate in 50 years, where banks are collapsing and interest rates are far too high. We are a nation where energy costs have reached their highest levels in history. We are a nation that is consumed by the radical left's New Deal that will lead our country to destruction. We are the nation that lost its confidence, willpower, and strength. We are a nation that has lost its way. Here is how Donald Trump sees the greatest and oldest democracy in the history of the world. This is how Donald Trump talks. We are a nation that is hostile to liberty, freedom, and faith. We are a nation whose economy has collapsed, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is at the very bottom of every single list. Large packs of sadistic criminals and thieves are systematically robbing stores and beating up customers and workers and leave with armloads of goods with no retribution. Where the authority of our great police has been taken, where their families and pensions have been threatened, and their lives were being destroyed because of mere mentions of the word law enforcement. We are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get, and they are the enemy of the people. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed. Does it sound like Donald Trump loves the United States? Absolutely not. Americans love this country. All right. Joe Biden loves this country. Compare and contrast that to Donald Trump and the Republican Party. He has made his own image. He hates America. Let me repeat this again, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump hates America. He has convinced MAGA to hate this country as much as he does. This election is between those who love America and those who are being told every day how and why to hate their own country. People are proud of their hometowns, proud of their families, proud of their schools, proud of their heritage, proud of our history. Pride feels good, shame doesn't. Love feels good, hate doesn't. Joe Biden can take this stark contrast between light and darkness, between himself and Donald Trump, and I promise you, if he does this, he is guaranteed to win this election. I know that was long, ladies and gentlemen, but I really wanted to drive the point. If you look at Donald Trump's actions, if you look at Donald Trump's words, it's crystal clear this man hates the United States of America. Never has anything good to say about this country. This country, which has allowed him to get away with everything he's pretty much wanted to get away with. And you mean to tell me you can't say anything good about the people in this country, Donald Trump? Meanwhile, you have President Biden over there reminding Americans, you know what? We can do anything with a lot of love in this country, right? And so between the two candidates, ladies and gentlemen, I really believe if you are really a person that knows the difference between good and evil, it's crystal clear you got to vote for Joe Biden. This isn't a lesser of two evils situation. This is literally good versus evil. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Join me in giving Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans who continue to hate this country what they deserve. Our first and honorable round of, you guessed it, booze and shame.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
All right, let's move it along, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to try to get out here on time today. All right, so let's keep it going. All right, so let's get back to presidential immunity. All right, that seems to be one of the hot topics. Former prosecutor Glenn Kirshner, all right, he suggested that President Joe Biden should utilize the Supreme Court's Monday immunity ruling to prevent former President Donald Trump's re-election. How many of you agree with that? All right. The Supreme Court found in their ruling on Trump's immunity appeal that presidents possess immunity from criminal prosecution for officials' acts they take while in office. Kirshner proposed that there's methods to beat Donald Trump, the last of which he said can be used to ensure the former president does not get reelected. Do you want to hear this, ladies and gentlemen? Let's give Glenn Kirshner a little bit of a listen. All right, let's listen to what he says President Biden should do.
3, and this is going to sound like the stuff of Hollywood scripts, but it's a conversation we need to have. President Biden can use his new power power that the Supreme Court just bestowed on him, unfortunately, it is the power of lawlessness. Lawlessness with impunity and immunity. He can use that power to protect American democracy against an avowed day one dictator. Hard to imagine we're having that conversation, but just imagine, friends, if Donald Trump retakes the reins of governmental power and he becomes the dictator he has promised us he will become. He said he's going to be all about revenge. He's going to be all about purging the government of anybody and everybody he doesn't want there. Right. Civil service protections will be gone, and he will install people like, Bannon and Stone and Flynn and Stephen Miller and Kash Patel, Jeffrey Clark, and his other criminal associates, and they will be out for blood, out for revenge. They will be doing nothing but enriching themselves corruptly at the expense of the American people. They will be summarily jailing their opponents and their perceived enemies with no cause and no due process. That is what they will be doing. Can you imagine if that's where we find ourselves and we look back and we acknowledge that President Biden didn't use the powers that the Supreme Court just granted him. Yes, it's the power of lawlessness, but it is actually now a constitutional power that the Supreme Court has given all presidents. Can you imagine if America is converted from a democracy to a dictatorship or a banana republic of sorts, and President Biden decided to forego using the powers he has to protect the American people and to protect our democracy from an aspiring dictator?
Tell him, Glenn.
How will we feel about that? Will we feel secure in the knowledge that he didn't take advantage of the lawlessness that the Supreme Court said is now ingrained in our Constitution? The lawlessness that a chief executive, a president of the United States is allowed to exercise, given the Supreme Court's new interpretation of presidential immunity? Will we feel good about the principle that President Biden exhibited by declining to use that power and giving over our American democracy to dictatorship?
No, we won't.
I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, what Glenn Kirshner is saying, all right, thank you, Mr. Rational. Let's go. Make sure you follow Mr. Rational. He's doing a lot of good work to push back against these MAGA demons. He's actually doing a great job. What Glenn Kirshner is saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that President Biden should go and get Donald Trump's playbook. You know, the playbook that he's being prosecuted for in D.C. The election subversion case, right? Joe Biden, we are hereby asking you to engage in a conspiracy, Mr. President, all right? And that conspiracy that we need you to do in order to save our democracy involves you defrauding the United States of America, maybe even obstructing an official proceeding, conspiracy against rights. The conspiracy against rights, Mr. President Biden, that's the one I really need you to be laser focused on, right? What that means, Mr. President, is, think about it. These Trump supporters, all right, they are a threat. Wow, let's go, Jeff. Think about it, Mr. President. These Trump supporters, they're a threat to our democracy, right? And they shouldn't be allowed to vote in this next election. So what you need to do, anyone that has a social media account tied to supporting Donald Trump, go ahead, find out who they are, use the FBI to get their IP address, right? And then you find out who they are and you make sure you disqualify them from being able to vote, because that is what you have to do, Mr. President, in order to help save this country from fascist leaders like Donald J. Trump, right? And don't worry, Joe Biden, do not worry. The Supreme Court has literally cloaked you, all right, in the biggest protection you could ever have. You can get away with anything. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what this means. Join me in giving Donald Trump and his supporters what they deserve, because they keep going around here on social media saying that they're winning, but they don't realize everything they are winning, they've just given it to President Biden. Let's give him a round of boos and shame. Yeah. Everything that you're arguing Donald Trump should have, MAGA, I just want you to know you're arguing that Joe Biden should have it. And so you're literally arguing with yourselves. You're chasing your tails. All right, let's move it along. Kamala Harris, top choice to replace President Biden if he decides to step aside. All right, Vice President Kamala Harris is the top alternative to replace President Joe Biden if he decides not to continue his re-election campaign. According to 7 senior sources at the Biden campaign, the White House, and the DNC with knowledge of current discussion topics, Biden's fumbling, sometimes incoherent, and widely panned first debate performance against Republican rival Donald Trump last week set off a wave of panic within the Democratic Party over concerns that he might not be fit enough to serve a second term. I'm just going to stop right there, and this is what I got to say. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why I believe President Biden chose Vice President Kamala Harris to begin with. All right, this man is thinking ahead, and at the end of the day, you should too. Rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, in the event President Biden decides, you know what, maybe I can't continue to perform this job, guess who's going to actually be the person that comes and takes over the reins? Our Vice President Kamala Harris. Let's give her a round of applause. Yeah. And so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Join me in giving these Trump supporters Moo the tuxedo. I know you don't like it, but unfortunately, sir, you're either going to have to vote for Donald Trump or you're going to have to vote for President Biden and Kamala Harris. I'm so sorry. And if you do anything else, and I'll talk about that later, you might as well be throwing your vote towards Donald Trump. Join me in giving these Trump supporters what they deserve. Another round of, you guessed it, boos and shame. All right, so let's just get straight to it, all right? This is what the word is. Do not throw away your vote on Michelle Obama. The enemy is on the doors of the White House. Vote blue or kiss democracy goodbye. See what I'm saying, Moo? You see what I'm saying, Moo? You got to make sure your head is in the game. You just can't be playing the game and then say, oh, well, you know what? I don't like my teammates and I demand to trade games over until I get a trade. You can't play the game like that. That's not how this works, all right? In the June 27th letters, Jeffrey Greek stated that he intends to vote for Michelle Obama for president. He stated her qualifications and that she would probably be a good president. I don't doubt that. There's only one problem. She has zero chance of winning. And a vote not cast for Joe Biden means Donald Trump needs one less vote to win. Let me say that again. A vote not cast for Joe Biden means Donald Trump needs one less vote to win. All right. And so I got to continue to help get this message out there to a lot of people out there who are frustrated with the only two options. All right. This is very, very serious, and I think I want you to understand you're playing right into Donald Trump's hands, all right, if you go any other way, all right? I know you're not getting what you want, but you know what? A lot of people don't get what they want on Christmas, right? A lot of people don't get what they want on Christmas. All right. But the important thing is you understand you did the right thing in the moment with the opportunity that you had. All right. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, you know who I'm going to give the booze and the shame to. Join me in giving these booze and shame to Donald Trump and his supporters, because guess what? They thought we were going to fall for this trick, and we're not going to fall for it, all right? We're going to make sure we go and vote for Joe Biden. Let's give him a round of booze and shame. You know, they don't like me because I get out here and I tell the truth. But you know what? Like I say, I'd rather tell the truth every single day, all right, than to be sitting in the jail cell worshiping Donald Trump, all right, with my freedoms and liberties stripped from me and hoping that this con man is going to come rescue me from whatever I'm dealing with. It's never going to happen, all right? Let's move it to the next topic. The DOJ, they plan to prosecute Donald Trump even after he possibly wins the presidency. This is good news, all right? In the event that Donald Trump wins the election and becomes the president, the Justice Department will not slam the prosecution brakes, all right? According to sources, officials have confirmed anonymously that the criminal cases against Donald Trump will still move forward, at least until Inauguration Day on January 2025. All right. When they spoke with senior law enforcement officials about their game plan, they have long prepared for the 2 federal indictments against the presumptive Republican nominee as being constrained by deadlines. The primary reason for this is an institutional tenet of the Justice Department's policy to restrain from criminally charging a sitting president. That policy holds for presidents, but sources and lawyers at the department told the Post they don't think it applies to pursuing matters against presidents-elect. This means motions will continue to be filed, court hearings scheduled, and a trial could plausibly still take place up until Donald Trump's hands rest on the Bible to be sworn in. That means up until Inauguration Day, sources predict it will be as close to business as usual at the Justice Department. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give the Justice Department a round of applause. And unfortunately, you know what we got to do. Join me in giving these MAGA demons, especially Donald Trump, what he deserves. We're going to give Donald Trump a round of booze and shame. And you know why? Because he thought he was going to be able to escape justice, and he won't. We caught him once again. Let's give Donald Trump a round of booze and shame. Yeah. All righty then, ladies and gentlemen. Next topic. All right, this is an interesting one. Evangelicals are terrified after key RNC delegates are stripped of their positions. Republican ideologues are worried the party's platform may soften its stance on abortion at the behest of former President Donald Trump over a fear of losing this year's races. Yeah. Donald Trump has tried to distance himself recently from evangelicals who pressed for judges who would overturn Roe versus Wade. After spending the year plus after the landmark Supreme Court decision was overturned, Trump bragged that he was the one to make it happen when all of the other Republicans failed. Now that the election is drawing closer, however, Trump is falsely telling rally goers that everyone wanted the law tossed back to the states to decide, right? Trump's conversations with lawmakers made it clear the priority is winning the election over the issue. Quote, "We must win," Donald Trump said, according to sources. "We have to win." The next step is crafting the RNC platform, and hardliners fear that Trump will demand that they moderate on choice at a time when evangelicals want to see the party double down. 2 delegates have been stripped of their positions on the GOP platform, according to sources. The move is underscoring a broader fear among evangelicals and other social conservatives that the party is poised to moderate its stance on abortion at the direction of Donald Trump. So this is, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is calling the shots. And to all you so-called Christians, get ready for Donald Trump once again to play you like a fiddle. We've been telling you this man is not a Christian. We've been telling you this man lies through his teeth like you just couldn't believe. And yet and still, you continue to ignore the truth and follow this demon straight to the pits of hell. In other words, you're getting what you deserve. All right. So unfortunately, we got to do it again. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in giving these so-called Christians, they're not Christians, they're hypocrites, right? Join me in giving these liars that worship Donald Trump in the synagogues, right? Join me in giving them what they deserve. A round of boos and shame.
Silence! You MAGA demon!
All right. It's time. Speaking of churches, ladies and gentlemen, let me look at the time. All right, we got to play. We got to play MAGA or not. All right, let's play MAGA or not, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready to play MAGA or not? Put a 1 in the chat if you want to play MAGA or not, ladies and gentlemen. You know how this goes. All right. You know how this goes. All right. We're talking about churches. All right. And you know the rules. All right. Let's see. Lexington pastor arrested facing nasty allegations and charges involving children. Put a 1 in the chat if you think this is MAGA. All right. And what we do is we have to help people understand how un-Christ-like these people are that are running around here professing to be Christians. All right. So take a listen to this story, and then you know what we'll do. We'll judge whether or not we believe this is MAGA. Look at you. Some of you have already put the 1s in the chat. You know how this goes. All right. Let's get this story queued up. All right. And it got the trigger warning. All right. So just keep that in mind. But you got to get the message out there.
And I'm Larry Smith. Glad you're with us tonight. Disturbing details in the case against a former Lexington pastor. Zach King faces a string of felony sex charges involving a young teenager.
Some of the allegations are hard to hear. LEX 18's Lee Searcy was in court for today's hearing and spoke to a former church volunteer for tonight's big story at 6.
For several years, Zachary King was a trusted executive pastor here at Lex City Church. But now he's behind bars, charged with rape, sodomy, and sexual abuse. Police say he admitted having sex with a teenage girl, starting when she was 15 years old.
All right. I've heard enough. This is some sick stuff. And you know why, unfortunately, I have to do this, ladies and gentlemen? It's because there's a lot of characters on TikTok that love to run around here and say they are doing this and that to help protect children, but they never talk about this kind of stuff that's going on. And these folks, they call themselves Christians. And once again, we're seeing who's the real Christians and not. And in this case, this is not a Christian. This is a monster. We had a monster in the church once again, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, where was this at in Kentucky? There might be some good people in Kentucky, but you know what? This monster was running, he was running free in Kentucky, ladies and gentlemen. And chances are you know exactly who he supports. Because look at this. We know who else does this in the Republican Party, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Join me in giving Zachary King, this disgusting evil monster who deserves to be in the lake of fire in hell. All right. And I can't send him there. I wish I could. But join me in giving him what he deserved. Let's send him straight to hell where he belongs. Let's give him a round of boos and shame.
Silence! You MAGA demon!
All right. And by the way, I want everyone to make sure they go on out there and read the information about defendant Donald J. Trump and plaintiff Katie Johnson. All right. This is evidence that Donald Trump was directly linked to Jeffrey Epstein. ladies and gentlemen. So think about that. You get these folks who love Jesus so much, they use these churches to cause harm to children, and you have the former president literally in court documents doing the most evil, disgusting things to children, all right? And you are all being tasked to go vote, all right, in November. Make sure you don't vote for the one that you know is an S-air, all right? And you got enough proof that Donald Trump is. You saw the case in New York with E. Jean Carroll. You saw the case with E. Jean Carroll. You see these 26 women who have all came out and accused him of SA, all right? You got them in the court documents now, ladies and gentlemen. I could read something to you, but it's inappropriate for TikTok. I just want you to know, go look up this information. It's circulating all over Twitter, all right? Donald Trump is definitely a disgusting human being, and what he did to children is unforgivable. And how could you reward him by voting for him to be president of the United States? Makes absolutely no sense. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Donald Trump what he deserves for his disgusting, evil acts. Another round of boos and shame. Woo, it's getting hot over here. Oh my goodness. I don't know. What are we dealing with? A heat wave. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen up. It is now time to wrap this part of the show up and then get ready to open up the boxes. But you know exactly what we must do. We must first cover January 6th. All right, so let's get into J6, ladies and gentlemen. Is there anyone out there that still believes Donald Trump's lie that the election was rigged? All right, if you believe this,
It's a rigged election. It's the only way we're going to lose.
is there anyone out there that still believes the election was rigged in 2020? Please let me know. I know normally there's some Trump supporters in here that are still willing to come up here and try to defend this nonsense. So I like to give them an opportunity to explain why almost 4 years later you still believe this. Are there any MAGA-possessed individuals out there that still believe Donald Trump's claim that the 2020 election was rigged? All right, hold on. Who do we have out here? Rocky Raccoon. I don't know who you are, Rocky Raccoon. Who are you? Is there anyone out there that still believes Donald Trump's claim that the 2020 election was rigged? And this is what I mean when I say rigged. When I say rigged.
It's a rigged election. It's the only way we're going to lose.
All right. And the reason that I ask that is because, you know, I get into these conversations with people who talk about Donald Trump's vision for the country. And I want you all to understand, Donald Trump showed us what his vision for the country was, right? When he had that first term in office, all right? How did his first term end? All right? Millions of Americans losing their lives as a result of the pandemic. And then you had J6, all right? So it's not difficult to understand why he didn't get reelected, all right? All right, so let's go, ladies and gentlemen, because we don't have much time. To the Trump supporters, this one's for you. All right? So, every time he loses is rigged. That's what he says. Yeah, I agree. To the Trump supporters, this one's for you. All right, bear with me. So we're gonna go down memory lane and help you all understand why Donald Trump did not get reelected. If you take a look at me, this is the stock market, ladies and gentlemen. This is the stock market in Donald Trump's last year in office. All right, and as you can see, it's going down. And you got to ask yourself, why is the stock market going down? Well, this has a lot to do with it.
And again, when you have 15 people, and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to zero, that's a pretty good job we've done.
President, today the U.S. hit a grim milestone of 1 million cases of the coronavirus. Back in late February, you predicted that the number of cases would go down to zero. How did we get from your prediction of zero to 1 million?
Well, it will go down to zero ultimately. And you have to understand, when it comes to cases, we do much more testing than anybody else. So we can go to some of these other countries.
Remember this, ladies and gentlemen?
The virus that we're talking about having to do, a lot of people think that goes away in April with the heat. I think that's a problem that's going to go away. When you have 15 people, and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to zero, it's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle, it will disappear. You have to be calm. It'll go away. It will go away. Just stay calm. It's going to go away. It's going to go away.
So this is Donald Trump lying to the American people about the dangers of the pandemic. And as you can see, the unemployment rate, you look at that, it was skyrocketing. The stock market was crashing. Isn't it funny that he campaigns talking about how this country is going down in flames? But really, what he's talking about is his term in office, the way that it ended. Now you're starting to understand what he's saying, right? So now that he knows that he's not going to get reelected, what does Donald Trump do? Well, in an act of desperation, ladies and gentlemen, he engaged in a couple of schemes, all right? One of them, is the fake elector scheme, right? You remember this so-called perfect phone call? Remember that?
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
Right, so this is the fake elector scheme. Make sure you remember that word, MAGA, scheme. All right? All right, so what he did on election night, ladies and gentlemen, is something you definitely got to keep front and center. He went and instead of conceding to President Biden, he went out and lied to his supporters and made them doubt the results of the election. How did he do it? Listen up.
We had such a big night. You just take a look at all of these states that we've won tonight, and then you take a look at the kind of margins that we've won them by. And all of a sudden, it's not like we're up 12 votes and we have 60% left. We won states, and all of a sudden, I said, what happened to the election? It's off. And we have all these announcers saying, what happened? And then they said, because you know what happened?
What happened?
They knew they couldn't win. So they said, let's go to court. And did I predict this, Newt? Did I say this?
So he's not conceding. He's causing his supporters to doubt the results of the election. Then he goes one step further, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this. He actually tricks them into believing that he won.
76,000 votes with almost nothing left. And all of a sudden, everything just stopped. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
And see, this is when a lot of you supporters of his, you started to actually believe that the election was stolen from you, all right? And I'm trying to really paint this picture the way it should be painted. So now that you believe that the election has been stolen, what happens next? Well, Donald Trump decides, you know what? Let's invite all of you to meet me in Washington, D.C., all right? Hold on, this is what he did. Hold on, remember this? Attention, all Trump supporters. This is what he says to the Trump supporters. I lost to Joe Biden and I'm very, very angry. I need you to meet me in Washington, D.C. at an event that I'm hosting called Stop the Steal. All right, be there. It's going to be wild. Big, big protest. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, his supporters, they took him up on his offer. We seen them. All right. Remember this. All right. This is how a lot of them tried to get there. Right. They crammed in the back of these U-Hauls. All right. I mean, this is an economical way to get to D.C. I've never thought of doing it myself. But hey, whatever floats your boat. Right. And you know who was in the back of these U-Hauls. All right. You know who it was. Proud Boys, Oath Keepers. All right. The Patriot Front. All right. The Boogaloo Boys. These are the people, white supremacists, right, that Donald Trump summoned to the United States Capitol to help participate in a violent overthrowing of the government, one he planned and organized. All right. So what happened when they got to the Capitol, ladies and gentlemen? You remember they received orders from Lieutenant Marjorie Taylor Greene. And what did Marjorie Taylor Greene tell these soldiers of Donald Trump? What did she tell them?
Everything. If we flood the Capitol building, flood all the government buildings, go inside. These are public buildings. We own them. We own these buildings. Do you understand that? We own the buildings and we pay all the people that work in the building.
So she's instructing Donald Trump's soldiers to get ready to attack the United States Capitol. But don't do it until Donald Trump gives you the order to do it, all right? So they're waiting at the ellipse. They're just bear with me. His supporters are waiting at the ellipse for Donald Trump to give them their marching orders. All right. Where's Donald Trump, you ask? Well, this is where Donald Trump is. Donald Trump somewhere in the White House having a conversation with this guy, his vice president, Michael Pence. All right. Mike Pence. He goes into the office and says, Pence, buddy, old pal, I got everything in motion. I got the fake elector scheme. Can you say scheme, MAGA? All right. I got the fake elector scheme. All right. And I got my soldiers waiting for me at the ellipse. All right. All I need you to do, Pence, is not certify those votes for Joe Biden, and I'll take care of the rest. Well, Pence grew a little spine that day. All right. And he looked at Donald Trump and he said, Mr. President, unfortunately, I can't do that because guess what? Doing that requires me to place you above the United States Constitution, a document that our founding fathers and our framers fought and bled for. All right. And frankly, Mr. President, I don't think anyone asking me to do such a thing is fit to be president. This is what he told Donald Trump. Donald Trump leans in. His breath was smelling like Big Macs and Diet Cokes. All right. And he says, you know what your problem is, Pence? You're a little too honest. And then he called him the nasty P word, the same P word you Christians heard him using in the Access Hollywood tape. Right. He goes and says, you know what, Pence, I'll take care of this myself. And he calls out to his Secret Service security, take me to the ellipse to meet up with my troops. All right. Take me there. And they said, Mr. President, we don't think it's safe. Why not? They got weapons. They got metal whips and chains, military grade equipment, things of this nature that we think would cause massive harm to you. All right. And he goes, what? He goes, yes, Mr. President, they even got this thing called demon spray. What's demon spray? It's pepper spray mixed with wasp spray, mixed with bear spray. You know, you say a little prayer over it or something, and then you inject it with orange dye. And what happens is you spray people with it, and then they get possessed with the MAGA demon. Donald Trump goes, what? They got that? Yes, Mr. President. He goes, well, I don't care. They're not bringing it there to cause me any harm. Take me to be with my troops. Yes, Mr. President. This is what happens. So Donald Trump gets to the ellipse, and you all remember this infamous moment, right? When he got there, and as you can see, he's wearing that that trench coat and those leather gloves, which obviously means a crime is being committed. We know what leather gloves mean, right? We're all adults. So he gets there to the ellipse. He sees that sea of red, white, and blue patriots for Donald Trump. And you know what he does? He encourages them to engage in heinous acts of violence.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
You hear what he said? So you can see that this is not BLM. This is not the FBI, Antifa. These are 100% verified Trump supporters, right? And what was going on in their minds, ladies and gentlemen, while they were there getting radicalized? Well, think about some of the words they heard.
And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Right.
So, let's have trial by combat.
All right, what else did he say?
We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's death involved.
So, let's have trial by combat.
So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, his supporters were ready to engage in violence that day. All right? I'm not kidding you. And we actually have evidence of that. How many of you remember Ashley Babbitt? Let's listen to what Ashley Babbitt was saying, all right, leading up to that dark and dangerous day, January 6th. All right, and you tell me, do you think she's been radicalized?
District, why don't you worry about your own goddamn district and the shit going on there? You are a complete, I'm telling you right now, I'm putting all you on notice. Every single one of you politicians in California, Gavin Newsom, Jerry Brown, Maxine Waters, Duncan Hunter. What the hell is Kamala? Where is Kamala? Talking about ISIS like KKK. We got this modern kid. You know what? We have thousands of people on the other side of the border. You people can't get to work. Our economy is going to take an absolute tank because you guys refuse to choose America over your stupid political party.
Capital and a mob. There's an estimated over 3 million people here today. So despite what the media tells you, boots on ground definitely say something different. There is a sea of nothing but red, white, and blue patriots and Trump.
You heard that? A sea of red, white, and blue patriots for Donald Trump. This is a woman Donald Trump was supposed to protect, ladies and gentlemen, who he failed to protect. This is a woman who believed every single thing he posted on his social media page. This is a woman who had been fully radicalized by Donald Trump and right-wing media. She found herself in the United States Capitol on January 6th, fighting for a lie. All right, and you all know exactly what happened to Ashley, right? You all remember what happened to her, right? That was the moment right before she lost her life, ladies and gentlemen. She lost her life because of Donald Trump. She chose to believe the big, big lie. That lie cost her life. And what did her commander-in-chief, Donald J. Trump, do when he found out that one of his foot soldiers had lost her life? What did he do? You all remember it.
Some information that stands out to me is that Donald Trump was passed a note after one of the rioters was shot in the Capitol and was made clear that this person had been shot, this woman had been shot in the chest. And the valet says that he offered no reaction upon learning that. He kept sitting in the chair watching the violence unfurl on TV.
A non-reaction at the death of Ashley Babbitt.
You see what I mean? You see what I mean? So he obviously didn't care about Ashley Babbitt or any of the Trump supporters. As far as he was concerned, mission was failed. They failed their mission and they let him down. He's sitting at the White House eating Big Macs, drinking Diet Coke, throwing ketchup at the wall. 187 minutes. This man did absolutely nothing. And this is who you all are saying you should put back in the White House? Are you serious? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the crime scene of January 6th that millions of us remember, right? This wasn't a peaceful protest like BLM. All right, this wasn't a little tourist visit that had gone awry. This was a crime scene. All right. And with that, let's talk about this crime scene of January 6th. We have another MAGA demon that has been brought to justice, to be quite honest. All right. We have another Trump supporter that has been brought to justice. Please bear with me. All right. Who is this? FBI has arrested Tawny Town man for allegedly assaulting police officers on January 6th. All right. The U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of Columbia said that Tawny Town man was arrested on Monday, July 1st, for allegedly assaulting law enforcement during the January 6th riot. David Michael Camden, 45, is facing felony charges of offenses related to assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain officers and civil disorder. He is also facing several misdemeanor offenses, including entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds, disorderly or disruptive conduct in a restricted building or grounds, engaging in physical violence in a restricted building or grounds, disorderly conduct in a Capitol building, and acts of physical violence in the Capitol grounds. Court documents say that Camden allegedly pushed a bike rack barricade into a line of police, United States Capitol police officers and yelled at them. Take a look at this man right here, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. This is an assault against police officers. In response, officers successfully repelled Camden's advance and deployed a chemical irritant in his direction to preempt further aggression. After Camden is accused of deploying a fire extinguisher at the police line, the FBI received information that Camden was nicknamed Little Man Sprayer. He goes by the name Little Man Sprayer. Isn't that interesting? Little Man Sprayer. Court documents reveal that Camden climbed the media tower and waved an American far-right anti-government militia 3 percenters flag above the mob. The investigation also showed Camden made several valid card purchases in cities near D.C. after January 6th that were consistent with travel routes from Washington State to Washington, D.C. The FBI said they arrested Camden in Fayetteville. He will have his first court date in Western District of Arkansas. Wow, wow, wow. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is how Donald Trump leaves his supporters, all right, in jail, all right, because he doesn't care about them. And look at you supporters. How does that feel knowing all of this happened because Donald Trump lied to you? Think about it, right? All right. And while you're thinking about it, ladies and gentlemen, let's take care of business. Join me in giving this seditionist, treasonous traitor what he deserves. A round of boos and shame. All right, and since he wanted to be a soldier in Donald Trump's Confederate Army so bad, let's take care of business. Let's send him off the old-fashioned way.
I'd like to begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay.
You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? You hear what he said. You heard exactly what he said. He invited you all to the United States Capitol, ladies and gentlemen, and played you all like a fiddle. When are you Trump supporters going to realize that you are all in a nasty, nasty cult? Huh? When are you going to realize you're in his circus, ladies and gentlemen? And look at it. Think about it. It is a circus because he does exactly what a clown does. A clown puts on makeup. This man puts on that orange makeup every day. Ooh, don't I look so good, right? Then he puts on a wig, just like a clown does. He puts that bird's nest smack dab right there. You ever seen a clown with that thing around his waist and that ridiculous suit? Yeah. Donald Trump does the same thing. He puts on that diaper, and then he puts on that crumpled blue suit with that ridiculous tie, and he gets on his social media platform and lies to you all every single day. And you literally fall for it. You Trump supporters, you've gotten yourselves in quite the predicament, all right? And I think it's time for you to wake up and realize that you're in a sick cult. I've never seen anything like this. You go to your churches, your pastors, they promote this guy, Donald Trump, and you get out here and you defend his lies and call yourselves a Christian. No, you're not. You're not Christians. You're hypocrites, right? And I'm just telling the God's honest truth. All right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen up. That concludes the monologue. We're going to get out of here on time. Now let's open up these boxes. Let's open up the boxes and hear from those of you who are brave enough to get in the box and tell the truth and shame the devil. All right? Don't all jump up at once. All right? Do not all jump up at once. And you know exactly how this goes. All right? What we don't do is, hold on. Jesus, what the heck? My live is having technical difficulties. I do not know what the heck is happening here. Let's go. All right, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's open up these boxes. Sheesh. All right, so yes, you know what we do. You get 3 minutes to get in the box, tell your truth, and shame the devil. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh my goodness. All right, what do we got here? Goodness, I do not know what's happening. My app is crashing out once again. Let's see. Hold on one second. I'm gonna get to you. Hold on one second. All right. Hold on. Let's see what we got here. There we go. Is it working? No. That'll work. Maybe that. Hold on. All right. Hold on. Sheesh. We are having all kinds of technical difficulties. All right. Let's see what we got here. All right, let's go. There we go. All right. Let's bring up our first panelist, ladies and gentlemen. Jesus Christ. Yeah, for some strange reason. Oh my goodness. My app is totally bugging, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe that's what it is. Jesus Christ. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not able to toggle my guest request for some strange reason. I have no clue what the heck is going on. Hold on. All right, let's see. Okay, we got somebody. Oh my god, the world is going on with TikTok today. All right, Patrice, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning to you, Zeus.
All right. I'm trying to get it fixed and straightened out over here, but it is what it is. We're going to still push through. All right, I think I'm good. All right. What brings you to the show this morning?
I just wanted to, Democrats got to get it together.
What do you mean?
Okay, we all know the debate that or not was not Biden's best showing.
Right.
But it also wasn't Trump's best showing.
Right.
At least Biden answered the question from the moderator.
Yes.
Trump never answered one question. He just, whenever they gave him a question, he just went off on a barrage of lies.
Yeah.
He got all of these convictions. He lied the whole debate, but nobody on the Republican side to say we need a new candidate. But then after one bad debate, the Democrats got themselves on fire. Come on, people.
What does that say? What does that tell you as a voter out here? Patrice, what does that tell you as a voter?
Me as a voter, that tells me I'm more active when I see people telling them what's at stake. We may never have another election again if Donald Trump get back in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean that to me, it's always been that, right? Joe Biden has always been straight up with the American people. But here's the thing, Patrice. They said Joe Biden was going to lose to Donald Trump last time. We've been down this path before, and I do believe that the overwhelming majority of people out here in this country, they don't want a man like the mustache man running this country. And reality is eventually going to set in. Sometimes you got to have a little bit of this disagreement in order to get people to understand what the right decision is. And I think that's what it is, right?
Yeah. I decided for myself. I used to go get on social media and put information out from the see it. But I think I'm going to get out there on the street myself and go and tell them face to face. Because I'm 67. I'm 64 years old. Right. But I have children and grandchildren. I want them to have the same life I had.
Right.
They're not going to have that.
Yeah. What advice would you give people right now that are still, I would say, trying to process Joe Biden's performance at the debate? What advice would you give them, Patrice?
I mean, just something that I learned a long time ago. It's like, we all have a bad day. We all have our bad instances, bad days. But you don't just judge a person by that one thing.
Yeah.
Look at what this man has done over the course of 4 years.
Yeah. He got us out of a nasty pandemic, right? He got the country. Yeah. He got the country reopened, right?
Yeah, that was my choice. Joe Biden was my choice, but I'm gonna be honest, I never thought he would be able to pass as many bills that he passed, bills that actually help the average American people.
Yeah.
So he outshined me. My expectation for him.
Yeah.
So he deserves another 4 years, and so be it.
I agree.
If something happens,
he deserves another 4 years.
If something happens that he can't go those 4 years, hey, I know. Hey, that's a vice president behind him.
So you don't have a problem. You don't have a problem with Kamala Harris being the president either.
No, we're not. Right now, with the polls that I just looked at this morning, she's running closer to Donald Trump than Joe Biden right now.
Absolutely. So what? Yeah. So that's the thing, right? To the people out here who are still undecided and they're wavering, to me, you got to understand there's so many different insurance policies in place to help ensure that the Democrats can actually save this country. If you got Joe Biden, you got Kamala Harris, right? If you got Joe Biden, guess what you got? You also got presidential immunity.
You need to start using some of that.
Huh?
He needs to start using some of that immunity.
Would you be in favor, Patrice, of him using his presidential immunity powers to basically defraud Trump supporters of their votes?
I don't know if we want to call it defraud. I don't think they would have to actually have a brain to be defrauded.
Well, I use that term because that's what Jack Smith is prosecuting him for, right? And he was going to deny those of us who voted for Joe Biden. He was trying to deny us of our vote with this fake elector scheme, right? So, and he's basically saying it was an official act. So now that we have the playbook on how to do it, would you have a problem with President Biden?
Because the Supreme Court that already gave him the go ahead.
Yeah. So shouldn't Biden look at the playbook and kind of figure out how to make it work better than Trump and then use it to help save this country?
I totally agree with you, Zeus, but I really don't think Joe Biden has not made it like that.
He's not. That's not his character. I totally get that. But would you personally have any problem in the event they were able to? All right. I mean, hey, listen. It's going to be a dirty game. It's going to be a dirty game this November. I mean, the gloves are officially off. At this point, there's no rhyme or reason in terms of what to expect. All right. Here we have, we watched him get convicted, and then all of a sudden the sentencing kind of just went away into thin air, right? Yeah, so at this point, there's no rules. President Biden, do what you got to do, all right?
The Supreme Court don't realize that they also gave the sitting president the same immunity.
Yep, and that's what I've been trying to tell the Trump supporters. Everything you're saying is a victory for you. You're arguing is a victory for Joe Biden.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, listen up, Patrice. Thank you so much. I'm going to bring up the next guest. All right. As always, take care.
Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you, too. Yeah, we have a nice little quaint audience today, and this is pretty beautiful. Oh, who do we got this time? Who do we got? My good friend Moo the Tuxedo. Welcome back. How are you doing?
Make sure.
All right, you're back. Are you bringing good news today, Moo the Tuxedo, or is this one of those tough conversations?
You're welcome. Have a good one, okay? So I mean, it just depends. You know what I mean? Like, I agree with everything you say about Trump and everything, right? And I told you I would vote for Joe Biden, even if you need to wheel him in as a corpse, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is I shouldn't have to do that. And you're not relying on people like me to win, right? You're relying on independent, low information voters in battleground states to win this election, because that's who's going to decide the election, right? So that one debate might be the only thing they see, right? So it's not people like me and you who are going to decide this election. The Democrats already have my vote. What I would say is you've put up a very unpopular candidate. You trying to advertise for a vice president who actually has a lower approval rating than the candidate that in all the polls at this point is losing the election, not only in battleground states, you're also starting to lose blue strongholds. New Mexico is up for grabs now.
Yeah.
New Mexico's never been up for grabs before. So what it is the Democrat Party.
Now, Moot, I want you to know there's a lot of people who don't necessarily believe what you're saying.
That's fine. You can go on to the Young Turks and watch their news report, and they report all their sources, and you can watch a legitimate news channel tell you these things. It doesn't need to come from me. You can also go look at David Axelrod's tweet from about 3 months ago, unless at this point, Twitter's not reliable, right? Are we going to play that MAGA game now, too?
No. All right. But you know where I stand, and I think you said it at the top, right? You're still going to vote for President Biden, right?
Sure. Yeah, I will.
And it sounds to me like you're frustrated with his performance at the debate. Still.
No, I'm frustrated. So for 3 years now, I've been calling for Joe Biden to step down. I believed him when he said he would only run one time, but now his ego won't let him stop, right? And of course, this has been reported as well, that Joe Biden is now not listening to his aides, that he is taking advice from his wife, just like Ronald Reagan did when he had Alzheimer's. And he's taking advice from Hunter. So now Hunter is a factor, right? I didn't care about Hunter before, but now we have a crackhead giving the president advice. And that's not okay.
Okay, but Moo, okay, if you replace President Biden, what happens to all the things that have been put into place in terms of campaigning and raising funding? From what I heard, you can't really transfer that money to a new candidate. That has to stay between him and Kamala Harris. All right.
So the donors are going to save your party, right? Because the donors are now seeing advertisements that are going, and you're going to lose Congress too now, because now there's advertisements. They're using Joe Biden's lack of cognitive ability in Congress people's running. So not only are you going to lose the election if you stick with Biden, you're going to lose Congress. You've already lost the Supreme Court. You guys don't want to win this election.
Okay, so okay, I got to say this because, you know, I want to hear what you have to say. I really do believe that people are blowing this way out of proportion when it comes to President Biden. I think it's really unfair to try to judge him based off of a 90-minute performance. This is just...
So we're not judging him off of that, right? See, these are the gaslighting points that Blue MAGA likes to use, right?
Now, listen,
Blue MAGA.
Listen, wait a minute. I listened to you, even though I didn't agree with it. So I think you should just at least allow me to get my point out, right? I mean, after all, I'm the host, right? So with that being said, sir, you know, the thing is, it's starting to sound to me like a lot of people out here are acting like a bunch of babies. And what I mean by that is,
how'd that work for you in 2016 when you said that to the progressives? How'd that work out for you?
It didn't. Did it work for you? Listen to what I said.
Oh, good. Okay, so it's not going to work for you this time either, right? Neither is Orange Man bad.
Moo. It didn't work for you either. You understand?
Oh, bud, I told you to run Bernie Sanders, right? He was ahead by like 12 points. He would have won, but you guys don't want to win.
Moo, why can't you listen? I mean, we're having an intellectual conversation. You're not getting what you want, and so what you're doing is you're throwing a hissy fit saying, I don't like that performance. All right. And then you actually went one step further and you said you've been basically saying we should have replaced him for years. But then you're also
72% of your party doesn't want Biden at this point, right? 72%, my dude. And you can look that up. And that was reported on TYT as well. So it's not just me, right? It's David Axelrod. It's Bill Maher, right? I'm not struggling, bro. You're just gaslighting me. Just like Clyburn did on TV yesterday, right?
Every time I say something, you don't even let me finish what I'm saying, even though I've let you finish what you wanted to say, even though I disagree with it. All right, which kind of makes me think you're really not a Democrat. All right,
I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent.
Okay,
I'm not a Democrat.
Okay. So that's already a strike against you in my book. But
no, it's a strike against you.
No, because I'm still voting for Joe Biden, and I'm not out here bashing
I told you I'm voting for Joe Biden. That's not a factor here, is it?
But the difference between is I'm actually not out here bashing him like you are. I don't. If this is how you are as a person,
no, you're gaslighting people into thinking that this old man is able to do the presidency, and then you're advertising a vice president who's more unpopular than the guy you're running, who's already unpopular.
Okay, but that's your opinion. Think about it, right?
No, it's not. All the polls show that Joe Biden has a 36% approval rating. And then data shows that Kamala Harris polls at 42 points. Trump polls at 45. She's behind Biden. She's behind Trump already.
Polls don't vote, people do. All right, and those same polls,
and the people you need to vote aren't going to show up for you.
Move. Those same polls, they projected Biden would lose the first time he ran against Trump. And guess what? He won. So what I need you to do is get your head out of your rear end. Get out of your feelings.
No, that's where your head is,
No.
Your head's way up your butt.
Get out of your feelings.
No, your head's way up your ass, and you're gaslighting people.
Well, guess what?
Gaslighting people into thinking that Joe Biden can perform his duties of the office, and he can't.
Yes, he
can't do it.
Yes, he
no,
can.
he
And
can't.
He's
not even listening to his aides anymore. Various people from his department have come out and said he's not listening to them anymore. The only people he's listening to are Jill and Hunter, and that's nonsense, my dude. I don't need another Ronald Reagan.
Have you met Joe Biden? Have you met him?
Have you?
I'm asking you.
Have you met Joe Biden?
You're doing exactly what Trump.
Okay, so you haven't either, so that's not a factor here. No, dude, how about you stop gaslighting everybody and run a candidate like Andy Beshear, who won 2 times in Kentucky already, 2 times in a deep red state, and you want to run Biden. What a joke.
How about you grow up? And I mean that.
How about you grow up? How about you stop gaslighting people?
No, seriously. You got
No, it was one debate performance, but people have been calling for Biden to drop out for 3 years now. Every progressive has been calling for Biden to drop out for 3 years, but it's just one debate performance.
Christ, Moo, you know, this is disturbing, Moo. I don't know why you think people really believe you. Number one, you don't speak for the majority of people who still support President Biden at all. All right. What you're doing is you're going on to these right-leaning sources and you're listening to the mainstream media, and they're giving you the false impression that President Biden doesn't have the support that he really has. In other words, you're demonstrating that you really weren't in it. All right, you're running around trying to say you vote for Joe Biden, but then you bash MAGA here and there, and then you bash Donald Trump here and there. You bash Biden when you get a chance. You're an independent. There's only 2 choices, Donald Trump or Joe Biden. And the way it sounds, you're voting for Donald Trump. You get nothing from me in terms of bashing President Biden. And you can't tell me you're a doctor and you've seen his medical records. I know you have. And every time I ask you a simple question, you do exactly what the Trump supporters do. You start trying to flip it around and ask me a question. Seriously, bro, learn how to get in the box and have an adult conversation. I get it. You're upset. All right. But you should still be able to have control over your emotions. And then trust me when I tell you this, Moo, the overwhelming majority of Americans, despite what those polls say, they don't want Donald Trump to be president. They don't want a fascist dictator in the White House. All right. So I'm going to ask you very kindly to really think about what you're saying, all right? But in the meantime and in between time, Moo, I got to give you a round of booze and shame. I gave him his 3 minutes. I gave him his 3 minutes, right? But the big thing here, Moo, honestly, you know, you didn't get what you wanted in 2016. So what did you do? It sounds like you threw a fit. And guess what you did? You put Donald Trump in the White House. You can sit there and try to blame anyone else, but that's you. You got to take accountability for your actions. You knew what the right thing to do was. And just like I'm telling you now, if you don't like what President Biden is doing, you know what they say? If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. All right. But I don't buy this. I'm voting for Joe Biden, but I'm going to spend every single moment of my day on TikTok bashing this man with MAGA. I don't buy that. I don't buy that you support President Biden. With friends like that, who needs them? With friends like you, Moo, who needs enemies? It's a disgusting thing that you do. I would never want to be friends with someone like you that would openly say, I support this person, but then spend the rest of their time bashing me. You look like a hypocrite. You sound deranged. All right? Get it together, bro. Seriously. All right, let's go to the next top. Who do we got next? Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness, we have a lot of people. Oh my gosh, attacking. What do you got to say? I didn't catch that. Oh my gosh, look at that. He lit this crowd on fire. Good morning, attacking.
Wow.
Isn't it safe to say that we're starting to see the fake supporters out there that were out here on TikTok pretending they supported Joe Biden? One debate, and all of a sudden your feet are getting a little shaky, you're getting a little queasy, and you don't know what to do.
Yeah. If you people who are worried about Joe Biden for 90 minutes, one debate, he's passed over 400 bills. Multiple bills are helping the American people, the United States of America, so on and so forth, and other countries in need. It would be like me not following Shohei Ohtani anymore because he hits 3 home runs in one game and strikes out the next game every time he's at bat. You football players, basketball supporters, so on and so forth, just because your team loses one game, you're gonna drop them? Really?
I've never seen anything like this. I mean, some of the people that you would think would have been like, you know what, I'm gonna show some respect to the man that has showed he loves this country, and really try to give him the benefit of the doubt. All of a sudden I've hated this man ever since I've seen him. What?
I mean, it's Barack Obama wearing a frickin' tan suit, and then you attacked him for a month. Donald Trump can lie on the stage about everything, lie about drippy faucets, toilets, showers, whales being unalived by windmills, so on and so forth, and you guys don't care about any of that, and you lie about him not assaulting women and children. But Joe Biden on stage for 90 minutes, having a cold, and not at his top game. But yet the next morning, he's like a new person after getting a good night's sleep, medicine kicking in, and he's okay, and now he's still okay. But 90 minutes, you guys are worried. That doesn't show support for our system. By the way, if I am the captain of the ship, I have a crew underneath me running my ship, putting people in place to make sure my ship runs efficiently, whether it be a ship, a plane, a business, or the United States of America. It's you put people in place that are going to do the job that you put them in to make sure it is run efficiently. As they come to you saying, hey, Captain, hey, this is what's going on. Good job. Thank you very much. Maybe we can do this later on. Yes, sir, we'll implement that. That's what a captain does. That's what a leader does. Donald Trump didn't have leaders. Anybody in the position. He changed like 83% of his entire administration multiple times. All right? Donald Trump has people who don't like him now, but now they're called traitors or rhinos, because now they're telling the truth about how Donald Trump acted and wanted to act. Right now, you have one option. Well, yeah, one option. You put Donald Trump in office and we have a possible dictator, or you keep Donald Trump out of the office with Joe Biden, because Joe Biden isn't going to take advantage of what the Supreme Court did. Donald Trump, if given the opportunity to cross that line, that threshold, with having absolute immunity, doing something illegal, is that really what you want to do? Do you want to give him that opportunity just because he says, I'm only going to be a dictator for a day? He's got that carrot right at his lips, and he is going to bite it. And he is going to take advantage. And he's going to have somebody arrested, or he's going to have somebody unalive, or he's going to do something that he shouldn't do because the Supreme Court says you have immunity. Yeah. Is that really what you want?
Good question.
My God.
Good question. Well, listen, Attacking. Thank you so much, brother. All right, we're gonna get it right. All right, but you know what? I'm glad the conversation is getting started here in the kingdom. We got to address it one way or another. All right.
I'm not worried. I'm 65 years old. I got a few years left, and hey, if Donald Trump F's up, I'm out of here anyway.
All right. All right. Well, it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give Attacking a round of applause. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. See, we don't shy away from tough conversations here, ladies and gentlemen. Not at all. All right, I see you, Clemento. Hold on one second. All right. Good morning, Cabrona.
Good morning. How are you? Thank you so much for allowing me to come up here.
All right. This is our first time doing business, right?
Yes, sir. It is.
All right. All right. Well, let me ask you a question, and then we'll get into what you're going to talk about. Number one, do you believe Donald Trump's claims that the 2020 election was rigged?
I don't believe him. All he does is lie out of it. I mean,
I get where you're at. Let's get straight to it. All right. What brought you up today?
No, I just want everybody to realize one thing, because I'm sick of the lies that this man says about all the immigrants that come in to take from, and they get public assistance. I work for the Department of Public Social Services in the state of California.
Okay, shout out to California.
Thank you, sir. When people walk into our office, they have to give us a social security card, or if they don't have it, their number. We have to do what is called an e-verification with the government. If your social security number does not validate with your ID and what you provide us, that person is not eligible to any public benefits as far as cash aid or food stamps. Okay? I'm tired of these people lying to everyone, and because they are so adamant that these people are coming here just to take. And what they fail to understand is this. The United States of America has 8 countries that they did asylum with. Okay? Now those people do come in, but what people don't understand, there is charts.
Mm-hmm.
They do not give them all this money. And if anyone wants the facts, every Department of Social Services in your county has a website that you can go verify yourself.
Really?
Yes, sir. Because now all of these counties are wanting people to come and see what their counties offer. So
wow.
Like in California, you come in and let's say that you lost your job and you need help. You know, they don't make you just sit around. You have to go look for work.
That's true. And you have to report on the progress you've made every week, right? And something like that.
No, they do that with another, under the same umbrella. It's called the Employment Department. And what they do with them, let's say an example. The only thing that's stopping this person to go to work is that they got bald tires. And they've got a job. They've got all the information that they will give them the money to get those tires. To keep that person employed.
Wow. That's amazing. Beautiful.
Yes, and that's a lot. You know, I have I've had the privilege of young ladies that got pregnant early and have come back into my office 4 or 5 years later and tell me one is a nurse, one's a lawyer, one's a teacher, and the other one, I think she said a phlebotomy. I don't know what she said, something under phlebotomy. But those girls took the time to go to work and school, and they will never have to walk in that department ever again for anything, because now they can sustain. Okay. So please, everyone, stop with this hatred, and also, just keep knowing that we cannot base ourselves on a debate.
So you don't agree with the previous guest that was saying President Biden can't do the job. Do you agree with that or not?
No, I don't agree at all. What are you talking about? Biden, you know what? All he's done since he came into politics was what? Try to do the best for the American public. He cares about us. He doesn't care about your race, creed, and color. He wants the best for us. And for him to say that, his wife is giving him Is that ding dong in bed with it in the White House? Does he sleep with him, paying attention? Is he walking around something that we don't know? Stop with this conspiracy BS, please.
Yeah.
Trust who we put. You trust who we put.
Yep.
And if people don't understand, go look at Agenda 47 and then that 2025 paper.
Yeah,
go
Project.
look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what do you say? What do you say before you get up out of here to the people that are going to basically say, I'm going to vote third party because I don't like the Joe Biden, ultimately basically opening the door to Donald Trump? What do you have to say to those people?
Get ready for a dictator.
Bingo. Fair enough. All right. How do you pronounce your name?
My name is, you can call me Anna, but that's my nickname my parents gave me, which is Cabrona. And Cabrona
all right.
in Mexico is a go-getter, a fighter. You know, you handle your shit, you get going. You know what I mean?
All right. We keep it clean now. But yes, all righty.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
All right, ma'am. Well, listen,
You
it was
have
a
a blessed
pleasure.
one.
And I
Thank you
gave you a follow, all right? Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Let's give Anna a round of applause. Moo. Bye. Moo, I hope you're still here, my good friend Moo, because I want you to get the feedback from other people on TikTok. Just don't go and look at those little podcasts that you've been listening to, because you don't know what the agenda is on those people's podcasts, right? A lot of people are just doing and saying these things about President Biden just to get the views and the likes up. But trust me, all right? No. You can't be blue MAGA, all right? I want you to really have a balanced opinion. I gave you my opinion, but listen to the people that come up. I don't go around and meet with these people privately and tell them to say what I want them to say. This part of the show is your opportunity to really get a gauge on where people are in terms of their support for President Biden and their outlook for the future of this country. And like I said, when it really comes down to it, I think a lot of people learn from Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders what not to do. And they also can understand the dangers that Donald Trump poses to this country, right? And so when you really look at it from that lens, I think it's crystal clear. This isn't about the lesser of two evils. This is literally about good versus evil, all right? And so I'm going to bring up the next panelist, all right? Hopefully we have somebody else that can give a perspective that we haven't heard, all right? Cemento, how are you doing, champ?
I'm good. How are you doing, Zeus?
I'm all right. Just pushing through, all right? So you understand where we're at right now as a country, right?
Oh, I absolutely understand. Both of my eyes are wide open. Okay.
So there's some beliefs out there that President Biden should have been stepped aside and got out of the way, so we could put a more viable candidate in as for the Democrat side. And there's the school of thought that President Biden is fine. Where do you land on this? Because you weren't really a Democrat, right?
I was a Republican for 25 years. I left the party when it was clear it was going to be Donald Trump or Lion Ted Cruz. Okay, and Joe Biden is the first person I ever voted for that was a Democrat. Okay. I now call him King Biden. But let's talk about him being replaced. Okay, so the next obvious person would be Kamala. So you mean to tell me that you're going to try to skip past the black woman and think you're going to win the presidency?
Well, her poll numbers aren't good.
When have the polls ever been correct? When have they been correct? I've never been polled. Okay, maybe it's because I don't have a landline.
I listen to the Young Turks podcast and CNN, and these are good places.
Isn't one of those jokes trying to run for president? One of them is. So give me a break. As far as Moo, I went from a follower to blocked because I have zero tolerance for those who can't even stick around after one shot's been fired. That's the cat that, when you walking down the street, he's all hardcore, but then somebody look at you crazy and he wants to run and turn around and run his ass away. Sorry about my language, but no, so he's blocked. He's trash. But
there's a lot of people that think like that, right? So what do you say to the people that think like him?
I think that this is social media. I'm in Miami. I have not heard anyone say they're not voting for Joe Biden because 90 minutes he was off his game.
Got it.
Nobody. Everybody is fully aware that the one sitting next to him has 34 felonies, has raped a woman, who has more felonies coming down, has been impeached twice, has three. 3 wives, he cheated on all of them, one with a porn star, and who has said he wants to be a dictator. But even more importantly, it's talking about going after Joe Biden if he becomes president. But here's the thing. We now have a king. Okay. And people think that Joe Biden is soft. No, Joe Biden hates Donald Trump more than all of us combined. And I have full faith that he's never going to let this cat put one foot on the lawn of the White House. Only thing he needs to do right now is say, this guy is a danger to our society. He's a danger to our country and to the world. Okay. And so he is a threat to all of us. And he now needs to be tossed over into Guantanamo. And we have passed the infrastructure bill. We have plenty of money to build more prisons. So if you want to jump up and get froggy, your ass can get tossed into Guantanamo also. People don't think that Donald Trump, they think that he's so hardcore. But Joe Biden is more hardcore than Donald Trump, especially now that he has the power to be a king. They need to wake up. It's called critical thinking. Why are they not thinking critically, Zeus?
I think it's an emotional response going on out here to what's going on in mainstream media. And what I'm finding out is, to a certain degree, honestly, I'm happy that Biden did what he did, because now we can see the snakes in the grass, right?
I mean, here's the thing, is that
you can see the snakes in the grass, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just want to reiterate. This man is 81 years old. He tried to go and retire, had to do a U-turn to come back and save us from Donald Trump. You think that, he has maybe a good 10 years left? You think he won't take one for this country after he served it over half his life? You think that he will not get rid of Donald Trump to save us?
Yeah.
Who thinks that Joe Biden would not do that?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was always saying, I hope that this case do come down to saying that the presidents have immunity. That way we can just handle this once and for all, because